Alright guys, so finally we're getting into season 3 of Generation 1 of the Transformers with an episode called The Five Faces of Darkness Part 1. It's a 5-part opening story to this new series, and the difference in tone straight away, completely different than seasons 1 and 2. Obviously because of Transformers the movie. The big shift in the story, where it's set at, the key players, the whole 9 yards. If you weren't one of the ones that originally, back in the day whenever this series came out, if you weren't one of the people that had seen Transformers the movie in the cinema, this season would have aired before the movie would have hit home video, I think, if memory serves right. So a lot of us back in the day were, that hadn't seen the movie in the cinema, were a bit confused whenever this new season came out, because everything's changed in it. The whole layout. The Autobots have won the final Great War, essentially, with the destruction of Unicron at the end of Transformers the movie. Rodimus Prime is now the leader of the Autobots, and the Decepticons are scattered without a leader. You've seen at the end of the movie, Galvatron got thrown through the side of Unicron out into space. So in the opening episode, there's no sign of him whatsoever. He has disappeared. They do track him down as location before the end of this episode, but they don't actually get to him. It opens up the Autobots. The big dynamic change here is them in the winning position, and they're more in this season peacekeepers than anything else in the universe, and have the upper hand on the Decepticons. They're in a bad way. You do actually feel sorry for the Decepticons, in all fairness, in this episode. They're on the planet Char, and they're scrounging for energy. They're beaten, damaged, and at the end of the episode, Rodimus Prime turns up on the planet, and he even says himself, and can't help but feel bad about these guys. So him and Grimlock at the very end of the episode are checking out that planet. But the main movers in this season, the Five Faces of Evil, Five Faces of Darkness, you just have to see that title, you know exactly where it's going to go. That's the Quintessons, of course. So they're pulling strings from the very beginning of this episode. Rodimus Prime, along with Ultra Magnus Cup, RC and Springer, they're on this alien planet as guests of honor at an intergalactic Olympic Games, essentially. And Rodimus, he opens up the games. Jazz is in there as one of the contestants. Blur and Wheelie, they're sent off on a mission in this episode to take a new transformation cog to Autobot City Metroplex. Was that badly damaged in the movie? He can't transform, so they have to get that there, because if they don't, Autobot City is going to be very vulnerable. That's the way they put it in this episode. And Perceptor, he's putting them on their mission. We see Blaster and another Autobot that I don't believe they even give a name for him. I'm just going to skip through this here to see if there is a name for him. I can't actually see it, but they're on a separate mission also to track down any Decepticons that are hiding on Earth, and they do take out Dirge and Ramjet. They're hiding on a military base. They get the coordinates of where the planet Char is. Essentially, at this point, they reckon, the Decepticons have been behind anything that's happened. So there is an attack on. This is kind of out of order for the whole episode, so definitely go and watch it. There was an attack in the Olympic Games, and there's this little alien called, I want to say a Skrull, Skulloid, Skuxxoid. Skuxxoid. We'll just go with Skuxxoid. I know it's not a scroll because that's in Marvel. This little guy, little alien creature, is in communication with someone, and he blasts the tower that has the Olympic flame on the top of it, and it starts spewing all this energy out. And the Quintessons, you never see them properly. You just see like the outlines of them, you know, talking on the monitors and whatnot. They're saying they need to work out how these flesh creatures and everything can be killed, more or less. They set this off to, you know, well, that's their reason to this little guy. But the thing that they're after in this is they kidnap Ultra Magnus Cup and Spike. So they're taken back to the Quintessons base. The Shard Cons are in there, of course, attacking and whatnot. The thing that jumped out to me in this episode, Rodimus Prime / Hot Rod has already met the Sharkticons at this stage. Even though we can't see them due to smoke and everything, there's some damaged leftovers there that, you know, someone that had a fight with him sometime not that far in the past at this stage. This is literally after the movie, so he should have cottoned on to this. So everybody splits up by the end of the episode, and you've got Blaster out there looking for rogue Decepticons hiding on Earth. You've got Blur and Willy heading off to take Metroplex, a new transformation cog. Blaster and RC chase after this little alien that caused all the problems on the Olympic Games at the beginning of the episode. Finally hunt him down, but you know, he doesn't give them any information other than shifting the blame from the people that are actually behind it onto the Decepticons. Well, they assume it's the Decepticons, and he just kind of lets them think that, and goes about his business, clears off in a spaceship. You will see him again at some point in the season. He's stabbed in the back by the Quintessons. You know, he calls them up to tell them what the score is. You know, these guys think that the Decepticons were behind it, and the Quintessons are like, yeah, that's exactly what they're supposed to think. And that's when you find out Ultra Magnus Cup and Spike are there with them. You know, coming up towards the end of the episode, they do find out where Char is, and Rodimus Prime heads off with Grimlock to check it out and see what's going on. The only other thing in here, and a big part of the storyline actually, was Scourge and Cyclonus along with the Sweeps. They're trying to discover the location of Galvatron. They do manage to do that by going to the head of Unicron that's still orbiting Cybertron after the body exploded. As they go in there, you know, the Sweeps are kind of worried about getting back in there again. And Cyclonus is like, you know, there's nothing to be scared of. Unicron is long dead, but at that you hear like this deep growling moan in the background. And Cyclonus is like, the brain trust that he is like, you know, it's alright, he's dead, that might just be the wind. But Scourge pipes up and tells him, you know, there's no wind in space. But they get to his memory core and they look up the last visual reference to Galvatron. You get a flashback to the movie once more with Rodimus Prime and Galvatron fighting, him getting chucked through the side of Unicron and flying out into deep space out of control. So they manage to track his trajectory to where he's at, and they come across a planet called, and I had this looked up, Froll, and they manage to, Scourge manages to focus that well on across the depths of space that he can actually see the surface of the planet, and all these lava pools, and you just see this hand sticking up out of the lava pool, Galvatron's hand, much like the Terminator and Terminator 2. I was just kind of waiting for it to go. They got there, giving the thumbs up. But yes, they need to get to this planet now to get Galvatron and bring him back to lead the Decepticons to victory. Again, the Decepticons are in bad shape, basically starving to death in this episode. Scourge and Cyclonus and the Sweeps come back to Char and ask them to donate energon to fuel a rescue mission to get Galvatron back, and then once he's back we can, you know, gain control of Cybertron once more and take over the entire galaxy, you know, trying to bring back the old ways of the Decepticons. There's a great little bit on there where I think it was Astro Train said, that things wasn't like this in the days of Galvatron and Cyclonus and Scourge and the sweeps, like, all hail Galvatron, and they do a salute towards Galvatron in this episode that probably wouldn't go down too well these days. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't get a bit of hate mail for it back in the day too, because it's one of those salutes from a party back in the 40s that caused a heck of a lot of trouble. But Astro Train also says at one point, Galvatron, Megatron, they were the same guy at the end of the day. But they give up their rations of energon, as I say. They're beaten, scarred, falling apart. There's one point in the episode where Astro Train couldn't fully transform, and he's like trying to reach out to grab this energon cube to help himself, and you kind of feel sorry for him. You really do. Rodimus Prime does indeed say at the end of the episode, whenever they get the chatter to find out if the Decepticons were behind everything, he's like, they can't be. Look at them. These guys are hurting. You can't help but feel sorry for them. But Grimlock's there, and he's just Grimlock being Grimlock. He's like, I'm not afraid of the Decepticons. I laugh at them, ha ha ha. But they do get found out that they're there. Cyclonus shoots at the top of the mountain peak that they're standing on, blasts the ground away from them, and they tumble down to the Decepticons, and we close out the episode with the entire army of Decepticons running towards Grimlock and Rodimus Prime to do as much damage as they can, basically, but I don't think they're in the position to do it. The thing I'm loving about this episode, or this season here at the moment, like, I've seen all the Transformers countless times over the years, but going back into it for this rewatch this time, you're probably talking something like 10-15 years since I've watched season 3 of the Transformers. For me, I enjoy it quite a bit. It's not as good as season 1 and 2 in my opinion, but it is what it is. There's a lot of good stuff in there as well, so I'm excited to get back in and check it out. The memories of the episodes and details of them are very, very much in pieces in my mind at the minute, so I'm looking forward to checking it out in this series of reviews. So that's going to do it. Get subscribed to the channel if you're not already. Give it a little thumbs up, share it along if you're listening to it on the podcast. Thank you so much. Until next episode, stay safe. I'll talk to you all then.